Welcome to the Mastering the Game of Life podcast. In this podcast, there'll be insights around 3 key areas to mastering the game of life: purpose, prosperity, philanthropy. Your host, Paul Lowe, the third sector mentor, is the founder of Hearts Global CIC, which along with many other of his charitable commitments has been responsible for positively impacting thousands of people's lives, particularly young people from disadvantaged communities. Author of Mastering the Game of Life, From Pain to Purpose, and Speaking from Our Hearts books. Introducing your host, Paul Lowe.
Hello listeners, and a very warm welcome. And yet again, we invite Trainer John back to talk to us around a short health-related subject: how to understand fats. Welcome, John, and let me start by asking you, as I always do, why is it important for us to understand fats in our diet?
Hello there, Paul. Yeah, basically it is very important. People tend to be scared. As soon as you mention the word fat, people panic. Oh no, fat's not good for you. But fat is actually an essential part of your diet. It provides energy, absorbs certain nutrients, and maintains your core body temperature. You need to consume fat every day to support these functions, but some types of fat are better for you than others, obviously. Good fats protect your heart, keep your body healthy, while bad fats tend to increase your risk of disease and damage your heart. So today, Paul, I want to talk about the 3 functions of fat in the body. I'd also like to touch on choosing good fats over bad fats, and then just talk about a couple of good fats.
Okay.
So basically, fat's a source of energy. While carbohydrates are the main source of fuel in your body, your system turns to fat as a backup energy source when carbohydrates are not available. Fat is a concentrated source of energy. 1 gram of fat has 9 calories, which is more than double the amount of calories from carbohydrates and proteins. So if you're looking at 1 gram of fat in protein and carbs, it's about 4 calories. This is 9 calories. Because fat is high in calories, you need to limit your diet to 20 to 35% calories from fat. Okay, so that's based on a calorie diet of 1,800 calories per day. And this recommendation amounts to 40 to 70 daily grams of fat per person. Also, another function is vitamin absorption. Some types of vitamins rely on fat for absorption and storage. Vitamins A, D, E and K they're called fat-soluble vitamins. They cannot function without adequate daily fat intake. These vitamins are essential parts of your daily diet once again. Vitamin A keeps your eyes healthy and promotes good vision. Vitamin D assists in keeping your bones strong by boosting calcium absorption. Vitamin E protects cells by neutralizing free radicals, and vitamin K is important for blood clotting. If you don't meet your daily fat intake or you follow a low-fat diet, absorption of these vitamins may be limited, resulting in impaired functioning. So, as you can see, when people go on diets, they cut out the fat. You've got to be really careful with cutting out how your vitamins are working in the body. Number 3, I'm going to talk about the third function, is insulation and temperature regulation. Fat cells stored in tissues insulate your body and help sustain a normal core body temperature. And the tissue is not always visible, but if you are overweight, you may be able to see it under your skin. You might notice an abundance of tissue in certain areas, causing lumpy patches around your thighs, your stomach, etc. Other stored fats surround vital organs and keep them protected from sudden movements or outside impacts. So fat is not a bad thing around the body. Obviously, to excess it is. We've got to keep it limited, but the body, it is important to have fat around the body. And what I'm going to go into now is about choosing good fats versus bad fats in diets. So, what you need to do with fats, you opt for a good monounsaturated or polyunsaturated fats whenever possible. These heart-healthy fats stabilise cholesterol levels and lower your overall risk of cardiovascular disease when you consume them in place of bad fats. So monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats come from vegetable oils, nuts, avocados, cold water fish such as salmon and tuna, which is important, and bad fats are what we call saturated or trans fats, which raise low density protein called LDL. Lipoprotein. It's called LDL. You'll see it on the labels. And it also is bad for the cholesterol. Elevated low-density lipoprotein, hardens arteries and raises your blood pressure. Over time, you'll be more at risk of a heart attack and a stroke. You need increased levels of high-density lipoprotein to rid your body of excess low-density stuff. So you've got HDL and low LDL. The HDL is good. The LDL is not good. Okay, so trans fats are especially harmful because they lower your HDL and also lower it into saturated and trans fats, which are naturally occurring in meat. So it's very difficult, to understand. But if your fats, if you stick to like your avocados, your nuts, and your certain oils, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, you won't go far wrong. Okay, so as mentioned before, monounsaturated fats, you'll find them in almonds, cashews, peanuts and pecans. You'll also find them in vegetable oils such as olive oil, peanut oil and canola oil, and peanut butter, almond butter and avocados, all good fats. Polyunsaturated fats they're a plant-based fat, what we call a plant-based fat, but they're also good for you, and they're found in fish, salmon, herring, sardines and trout. So it's vitally important, what we're learning today, is not to cut fats out of your body totally, but pick the right ones.
Okay. Yeah. So I've alluded to this, John, on the previous 2 episodes. Give us let's finish this off if we may. Finish this off if we may. Give us, dare I say, a stereotypical, and I don't think there is a stereotypical diet because we're all different. Some people are vegetarians, vegans, meat eaters. They're all kinds of diverse diets. But give us a sort of good 3 square meals a day scenario, if you can, that bring in this great balance of proteins, of carbs, and of fats. What might that look like?
My diet in the morning, because I'm obviously in the gym a lot of the day, I get up in the morning, I'll always have a bowl of porridge.
Okay.
Porridge, there you've got your slow release of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And in my porridge, I will have some berries, goji berries, or have some nuts, almond nuts, and sometimes a drop of honey. Lunchtime, I'll have a jacket potato, or I'll have a pasta with some tuna, things like that. So you've got your carbs there, you've got your complex carbs, and you've got your proteins still. In the evening, I'll tend to have a salad, chicken salad. So there's lots of proteins. I've still got my veg, and in veg there's still little shards of carbohydrates. So you're still getting your carbs, you're getting your proteins, but they're lessening over the day. And it's a nice, healthy diet, stabilised. So you're going to bed at night, you're full of protein to work on your body overnight.
Bread. What about bread?
Bread. Well, I'm not a believer in the word diet, because diet to me means you're taking something away from the body that it needs. I would say limit your bread. Try to avoid white bread because of the bleachers. If you can, have fibre bread, wholemeal bread, 1 or 2 slices a day if you can. Don't get me wrong. Varied diet. Sometimes for breakfast I will have scrambled eggs on toast. Okay. And bread is always high fibre.
Okay, so what about the supplementing drink that goes with your food then? What would you recommend on that?
On drinking?
Yeah.
Plenty of water.
Okay.
I would say in a hot climate, well, obviously I live in Spain, so in a hot climate I would drink a minimum of 3 litres of water a day.
Wow.
And especially when you're training, it's very important to keep your liquid intake up. Avoid fizzy drinks, like we said, if you can at all costs, Coca-Cola, all those. Be careful with fruit juices, they're not good for you unless they're totally natural. You go to the supermarket and get the cartons, they've sometimes only got 6% of juice in.
Okay.
So they're not good.
Okay, John. So many thanks for sharing that. And thank you to also the listeners for being part of this podcast episode. And remember, until next time, keep learning and loving. And remember, mastering life starts by embracing our hearts.
Thanks for listening to the Mastering the Game of Life podcast. Drop a line to paul@paullohearts.com with any thoughts or questions you may have, and he'll be more than happy to respond. Alternatively, check out Paul's website at paullohearts.com or any of his social media feeds under the same name. Remember, mastering life starts by embracing our hearts.